Fortnite Summer Update version 21.10 is officially upon us, and with that said, despite Epic Games obviously having 5 downtime updates set to release this season, perhaps this one is the biggest one they're going to be releasing, as they've teased so much content, as you can see also in the thumbnail of today's video, motorcycles as a brand new vehicle. And despite us covering all the information and even showing off what they'll look like, of course there's so much more to do with new collaborations Epic Games have been implying about, brand new map change or storyline development secretly happening right in front of your eyes, Klombos returning with a new updated animation, and so much more. If there's one video you stick around until the end of today, make sure it's this one, as we're going to be going over a lot in such a short space of time. And one favour I ask of you guys the next time you log onto Fortnite to do, as it literally takes 2 seconds and is 100% free, is entering my creator code FM1 inside the Fortnite item shop. You guys already know this not only puts a giant smile on my face, but cheers up my pug Gus too, who's been kinda sad about the fact he knows that 70% of all eyes watching right now are not subscribed. With that said, hit the big red button right now, as we're on our final push to 2.5 million or 2.5 million subscribers, and after all it only benefits you, as I do give different subscribers every single day. So if you ever want to receive something, simply make sure you subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on, and then comment your Epic Games ID down below and let me know what you'd like to receive, so perhaps you could be gifted like this on screen in front of hundreds of thousands of eyes to see in the next video. But with that said, now enough messing around, there's a ton of information to dive into, so make sure of course you don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere.
I'm not, I'm sitting on my
Don't
back.
go anywhere.
Okay, so for the first thing we're going to be discussing, as you guys know, the reality tree is perhaps one of the biggest map changes implemented this season, the only tree on the island that currently can't be destroyed by anything, whether it's pickaxe, cowcatcher or weapon. And despite us getting revealed to the puppet master of the Imagined Order, or specifically Dr. Sloan Jenner at the end of last season being an enemy at the forefront of the storyline that I'm guessing we're going to be seeing going forward, for those that can't remember, at the end of the cinematic trailer anyways, we saw what seems to be this bloom-like character representing not only the bloom of the reality tree, what seems to be coming off of it, but the Zero bloom that we got introduced to for the first time in the Zero Crisis finale or Chapter 2 Season 6 startup event. Why am I mentioning this now, you may be wondering? Well, for those that don't know, the reality tree is actually a progressive map change with routes all around the map, literally infesting different name locations as time passes. Initially, before the 21.10 update, the effects of this only spread into Logjam Lumberyard, but now when I'm recording this video, there seems to be some routes sprouting on the outskirts south end of Tilted Towers, and eventually, I've mentioned in other videos, for those that haven't seen, it's going to be affecting all these name locations, whether it already has, like Logjam as also included on this list, or any of the others. And despite me preferring the map changes progressing last season, with us being kind of involved with the mini live events taking over each name location back from the Imagined Order, thus then making the blimps above it crash down from the sky, I'm still definitely going to be keeping my eye on what's happening with these routes, as I don't believe the reality tree, despite it spreading positivity supposedly in the trailer, is a force for good due to what the scientists said about the island being too quiet almost. If we also go over to this NPC where the Collider used to be last season, she's in agreement with the scientist based off what she says as an opening line, and with the Foundation and Jones chasing Jenno into this other dimension that we haven't had any update on since during the live event itself, this may put Jenno being a particular enemy throughout this chapter on the back burner, whilst introducing what I seem to want to call the Bloom Queen based off the features of it. Moving on to our second point, the return of Klombos and how we know this is going to be relatively soon, and the reason for these actually being put to their demise anyways underneath the snow in the mounds, as we can see from this skeleton. This may actually be one of the teases toward the reality tree being bad, as soon as this appeared, really, literally Klombos became no more. From seeming safe and sound during the war in hibernation in the mounds in several different biomes, you wouldn't have thought a new force of nature added to the map would have caused any further chaos. Either way, that's all about to change, as despite this one being dead and Epic Games kinda making us think they're all extinct now due to the skeleton being displayed, Klombos of course still remain in certain areas of the island, which is their source of food or directly attached to them, or why they were added as kind of consumables in the first place. And on top of that, with Epic Games updating at the end of last season us being able to eliminate Klombos when they do return, dropping a tremendous amount of loot, almost giving us an incentive to affect these gentle giant creatures. Even furthermore, on the 17th of June, as you can see from Southie from Save the World 1, due to Epic working on the Klombo spawner in creative, Epic has recently added a new animation for Klombo when you emote close to Klombo. And as you can see, yes, this is the Klombo dance that was updated into the game's files, but actually in game instead of me green screening it over a replay shot like I have in previous videos. So it's confirmed now, with this vibing season, we can make the Klombos vibe out by emoting and vibing directly next to them, which is going to make it even harder if we have some bad loot in a particular game to eliminate one and get that loot off them. Speaking of things that are hard, but for Epic Games anyways, in terms of deciding what to release next, as they've released not only a brand new survey of collaborations right here according to Sheena, which in the past often means that some of them from said list would be upcoming, whether it's from the skin concepts that they've released or the surveys for those, or like what you're seeing on screen right now, being be in this list of collaborations, TV shows, music and art, cartoons, anime, you name it. Literally there's so much on here, so I'm gonna obviously leave it on screen so you guys can either pause the video and get a good look, or just slowly scroll through all the names so you can get the gist of what might be upcoming in the world of Fortnite. Out of all of them on here, honestly, I'd love to see a Pokemon collaboration. Imagine just going around the island and literally seeing Charizard as wildlife. And despite Juice WRLD or Family Guy not being on here, this could rather so hint that they're upcoming very soon and are already in the works, especially considering Epic Games have already teased the Family Guy collaboration at Greasy Grove, with this particular scene resembling Cleveland falling out of his broken house in a bathtub. So perhaps when 21.10 goes live in the files, maybe perhaps there's some Family Guy cosmetics, maybe even a Peter Griffin skin that I know everybody literally wants to see. Meanwhile, as for the Juice WRLD collaboration and concert happening, however, we don't know if it's going to be going down this season, but we do have some confirmation basically that it's going to be happening, as Juice WRLD's manager said the following.
Fortnite. If I say anything about Fortnite, I'm gonna get in trouble again.
Hey, is the Juice and Fortnite collab coming?
I can't say anything because I'm gonna get in trouble with Fortnite if I say anything, so.
The fact that he can't comment on his own talent, who is now past, coming to Fortnite, who he managed whilst he was alive, this can only mean one thing and one thing only, that he's signed an NDA that he wouldn't talk about it, as it's literally going forward and actually happening within the game. Of course, like the Travis Scott Astronomical concert, we're going to be getting a ton of free rewards surrounding Juice WRLD, potentially even an emote of him riding his motorcycle that Trimix made a concept of. So to complement the summer or vibing or party theme of this season, literally displayed in the trailer or across the island itself, fingers crossed in one of these 5 downtime updates we see some Juice WRLD strings added into the game, meaning it's upcoming before Season 4 releases. Last but not least, the moment you've all been waiting for, speaking of before Season 4 or what's going to be releasing very soon. For those that don't know, at the end of last season, the Riding Animals feature was leaked quite late on, and then upon the start of Season 3 itself, literally shown again for the first time in the trailer, we could see that characters were able to ride not only wolves but boars too. And despite Peely having a hard time passing his driving test, although he saved the live event and the Fortnite reality from complete destruction, he seems to be getting on just fine with riding animals. And speaking of looking at him doing so, doesn't the animation kind of resemble how we would ride a motorcycle? Well, it's a good thing we've mentioned that, considering Hypex has not only revealed that we'll have 2 seats when driving these upcoming vehicles that Epic Games have been updating strings for in the game's files, but we'll also be able to boost and drift, which we haven't been able to do drifting anyways in a long time, despite obviously boosting in all the other cars, especially around the racetrack like locations on the Chapter 3 island. Who remembers the all-terrain carts from Chapter 1 specifically anyways? I think they returned in Season 8 of Chapter 2 for a little bit. Either way, you could drift in these, and I'm guessing it's going to be kind of working similar like this, but for the motorcycles, which maybe we can also crank 90s on. However, perhaps maybe not accelerate fully at the same time, or boost, considering we can't do this when riding animals, although we can build structures and yes, crank 90s technically. It's not confirmed right now if they'll be adding only one type of motorcycle or multiple, kinda like when cars were added we got several different variants. And despite us having a concept for what both of the types of bikes would look like, a normal motorbike and then a dirt bike, I'm excited for either that comes to the game, if not both of them at the same time. Of course, if you are to, leave a like in today's video and make sure you subscribe to the channel with all notifications turned on so that you don't miss any future uploads now, especially with 21.10 releasing tomorrow. And speaking of other videos now, I may have uploaded based off all those leaks and information pouring out, so make sure to click anything on screen. However, most importantly, hopefully I can see you in the very next video I do post on the channel.